Richard, since you're in our studio, let me start with you. He says he wants to hear from all walks of life, but this forum is going to be mostly Republican donors there who are going to be speaking. There will be some 250 other invitees as well, teachers and what have you.
There will be a lot of people there. He will feel their pain. This is like the Republican compassionate conservative correlative to the Bill Clinton sort of let's meet the common folk. Al Gore saying, I've got the common folk around me advising me as to what they're going through, and I do empathize. You know, I don't know how much the president...
You think it's all a PR move then for the most part?
Of course it is. Of course it is. And how much effect can the president really have on the economy? Cheerleading the bills that passed in Congress. He was a Johnny-come-lately on this. You know, he has come around the front and he signed the Sarbanes bill, but it took him a long time to get around to it and really speak out forcefully about what was going on with real legislative action. So I think he's got a game of catch-up to play, and this is basically public relations.
Dan, what about you? What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't see it that way. First of all, I see our economy being a result of, obviously, the war on terrorism and the recession that was left over from the Clinton-Gore administration. I don't think the president has been behind the curve. We were all surprised by 9/11 last year, and then we were all surprised by Enron and WorldCom. And all of that has put our economy, actually, I'm surprised we're doing as well as we're doing, but it's put the focus on the economy, and we have the Democrats in Congress, led by Dashiell in the Senate, actually rooting for the economy to continue to spiral downward. They see it as an election issue. This is not a PR move. The president really wants to solve the problems. He really wants to get people back to work. And he wants to have the economy strong. And so he's talking to people, Republicans, conservatives, who understand small business, and that's where most people are employed. That drives the economy. This isn't about PR. This is about what can we do as business in America to keep people working, get consumer spending, and get confidence in the markets.
Let me ask you
And the Democrats really want the economy to be bad, I'm sure.
They really do, Richard. I mean, the truth is, they really do, because they can't win the Senate.
What, you don't think Democrats are looking at the 401ks and looking at how they're suffering? You don't think Democrats are being laid off?
The Democrats who vote are, Richard. The Democrats who vote are. But it's very clear that the Democrats in Washington would prefer the market to continue to stumble. They would prefer for the
wait a second. How do you know this? Are you a mind reader, or how do you know this?
No, it's very clear because...
Why is it very clear?
Richard, it's very clear because they have no issue to run on to hold the Senate or to win the House.
Name one Democrat who said, I hope this economy tanks.
Of course,
I hope
Richard,
the stock market hits 5. They don't say it, but you're the great Karnak and can read their minds.
It's not that I'm the great Karnak. I just know truth when I see it.
Dan, let me ask you this.
And Tom Daschle is not truth.
Why not feature some people who might oppose the president's policies? Why is this going to be a structured forum, a discussion that has 8 panels, but you have no opposing point of view, you have no debate?
Well, how do you know that?
Well, that's what the
How do you know that, Natalie? I don't think I don't claim to be personal friends with the president, but I knew him when he was governor, and I know this, that the president is a good listener. He does not like to surround himself with all yes people. There will be honest debate. There will be different opinions. But if you're asking, should he invite a lot of Democrats who will come in and try to politicize the event, that would be foolish.
Vice President Cheney, of course, as we see there, he will also be there. He also spoke out for the first time this week. We heard him talk about the corporate fraud scandals, this being his first appearance in about 3 months or so. And he was also, of course, asked about his role with Halliburton, which is now under SEC investigation. Of course, he didn't say too much on that, saying, hey, look to the website for the facts. But, Richard, do you think that he needed to say more? Do we need to hear more from Cheney at this point?
Well, he does have a point. If he comments too much upon it, there may be the impression that he's trying to influence the investigation. One of the problems here is the SEC starts an investigation. We have no idea how long that investigation will go on. It could be a year. It could be a month. It could be 6 months. So there could be a long period of time here where the American public does not get answers, does not have the surety that what happened while he was CEO of Halliburton, was entirely, correct. So he does have a point in terms of not commenting on it too much. But there are other things that are happening with Halliburton now, and the awards of government contracts. Even though Halliburton was fined in terms of basically ripping off the government. That is another issue to be discussed as well. He's not the CEO, of course, anymore. Yeah.
Right. Let me turn it over to Dan. Do you think the Bush-Cheney team is the right team to handle the economy now? Do you think they can get us out of this?
Of course. Do you think the Gore-Lieberman team would have been the right team to handle the war on terrorism or the economy? Absolutely not, because they believe in taxes. They believe in raising taxes. They believe in big government. What the Bush-Cheney team believes in is letting people keep money in their own pockets. What does the president want to do when Richard says, what are the Democrats doing to halt the economy and want to see it go in a backward or spiral downwards? Well, what Bush wants to do is make the tax cuts permanent. Tom Daschle doesn't want to do that. If we made these tax cuts permanent right now, as the president wants, it would be a great boost to the economy. But the Democrats aren't going to have anything of that. The Republicans, the conservatives, always understand what fuels the economy, and that's creating jobs.
Can I just ask one quick question?
Yeah.
If there's a double-dip recession, will you concede that that will be George Bush's recession?
Absolutely not.
Oh, I see.
All right. We got to leave it there, gentlemen. We do have to leave the discussion there. Dan, Patrick, Richard Bay, stand by, though, because we're going to take you guys on the other side of program. Richard Bay. All right. Should Senator Clinton be invited to the Western White House to begin with? Let's start with you, Dan.
Well, first of all, I don't know that the president can actually invite her, because I think in Texas, voters have to approve any Clinton crossing our borders, number one. But number two, if she wants to come down there and work on the farm, is this like her husband wanting to grab a rifle and get in the trench over in Israel? Is it the same kind of deal? This is, you talk about political grandstanding. I think what she's asking for may be very valid, and I think the president will consider it, but she doesn't need to come to Crawford. If I were the president, I would say, Hillary, if you insist on coming, you have to answer one question for me. So, because I don't want to have anything just mystically appear in the White House in Crawford. Tell me, how did those billing records get into the White House with your fingerprints on it? If you can answer that question, I might consider you letting you into my home in Crawford.
I'd have a better question. Do you do windows? If she comes down, don't put her in the farm.
Trust me, she's never done windows.
What?
She's never done windows.
Yeah, well, I
give her the pitchfork.
I would agree with you on that.
Is it about getting the spotlight then?
It's about,
like her
of course,
husband?
grandstanding. It's about a photo opportunity. But
right.
I believe that it might be smart for George Bush to say yes and bring her down. Because the best thing for Republicans and for you would be to have Hillary Clinton run for the president on the Democratic Party ticket. She would be the easiest candidate for you to beat. She has so much negativity and so much luggage carrying, beside her, that she would be the worst possible candidate. And I do not believe that she is going to run for president. But the more you can sort of build her up.
In 2004 or 2008, are you talking about, Richard?
In either year, in any year. Yeah. She's going to have that baggage for a long time. She's going to have those negatives for a long time. And she is she's a person that is very easy for you to throw political darts at constantly.
Well, she made it easy. I'm sorry.
Well, I don't really disagree with you.
Do you think she's trumping Gore for the leadership of the Democratic Party?
Well, that's easy to do. I mean, you could pretty much get a guy off the street and trump Gore for the leadership of the Democratic Party. I think obviously she is. Gore is out there floundering. I really don't believe Gore is going to be the nominee. I don't think he can win the nomination, although the hardcore Democrats that turn out in primaries tend to like Al Gore. I don't think many other people do, and he's saying the same things that he said the last time around. I mean, he's not Mr. Excitement.
Richard, do you think that Gore, you said you don't think he will get the nomination, but do you think he'll even want to run, knowing that perhaps he may lose?
I think he will.
He'll run.
If I had to, make a very long-term prediction, and of course the election cycle is so far away, I would say it's going to be John Kerry and maybe Evan Bayh as vice president, or John Edwards as vice president. You'll have that young, good-looking Dan Quayle type of guy,
JFK,
but with more to him. And then you'll have John Kerry, who is a war veteran and a guy that has a lot of, as they used to say, gravitas.
Yeah. I think the interesting thing will Cheney be on the ticket in 2004? And I've been telling my listeners for a couple of months that I really don't think he will be, not because of Halliburton, but because the Republicans will want a person that can run in 2008. And I don't think Cheney, because of health issues potentially and his age, another 6 years down the road, I'm afraid he could be another Bob Dole for the Republicans. So I thought his answer the other day in San Francisco when he was asked the question was a very interesting answer. He said, if my wife says okay, if the president says okay.
Right.
I really don't think Cheney will be on the ticket in 2004. They'll look for someone who they can hand the baton to in 2008, and I don't think it will be Cheney, which will be unfortunate because he is one of the most respected, experienced, mature people that we have in politics, and he is a great aid to the president.
Let's see how the SEC investigation turns out, and he may not be as great an asset as you think.
We're going to have to leave it there.